Thank you for coming tonight. We are live streaming this to a lot of people out there, and we want this message to go out far and wide. Any of you that have heard the shadow government speech before, this is that speech on steroids. So I think we'll have some eye-opening stuff here that I think a lot of people are going to see. It's because we have been so busy with our lives, just trying to survive, that they've been able to get away with doing what they've done. This is a wake-up call. This is an alert. This whole conference and the one that's subsequently going to come after this is a wake-up call.
There have been clear felonies, obvious felonies, not only obvious to law enforcement, but to the people themselves. And those are violations of Title 18, and these people need to be indicted. It's crystal clear.
Excuse me, in my case, it came down to my family's toxic exposure. I had to make a decision to stand up to that system or to let my family get increasingly ill. Don't fear. So don't fear your government. Please come out to Congressman Wolf. And we have a duty to our Constitution and to the people of the United States to come out and see that the truth is told.
Hillary Clinton's operation. And what she did was this, was she formed basically the equivalent of an international super PAC to funnel money through the Uranium One deal. I think it's $140+ million into the Clinton Foundation. She did that because
it's abundantly clear that Russian intelligence targeted the Clintons specifically for the U.S. uranium, and they targeted them through the Clinton Foundation. They snuggled up to them within the United States. They gave contributions to the tune of millions of dollars. These are Russian nuclear officials.
Within my agency, I was threatened. I was told to drop it. My memos were destroyed. It was removed from the internal server.
And this is the size of the secret government. I call it the shadow government. There are some people call it the deep state. Take your pick. Same thing.
The goal is to get the message out there that Sessions and the DOJ and Congress have got to move on these things, and these people have got to be charged. Our justice system hangs in the balance here, and its credibility. If these people walk, it just shows that our whole justice system, even at the high levels, is a sham.
Because these donations went to secret offshore bank accounts. They are not bound by FOIA laws in the United States because it's foreign money. These foreign donations into the Clinton Foundation through Uranium One are not bound by congressional subpoena.
Because the lies are so blatant. And the media will refuse to use the word lie, but that's exactly what it is. We're being told to lie. And when a government lies to its people, that is a constitutional crisis. I mentioned that the shadow government and the deep state are two different entities, although they are joined together in this vast matrix that we see in Washington, D.C. and beyond. The deep state is the secret government, all of the secret intelligence agencies that are functioning in the dark behind the scenes. That is the shadow government. The currency of the shadow government is the power of secrecy, fear, and intimidation. The agents, their lives, the operations they were involved in, the assets that they were connected to, everything. They didn't want to hear it. They didn't want anybody to know about it. And I was ordered to shut that whole thing down.
That was amazing, and you had an incredibly powerful infographic where you linked each of the individuals to Uranium One, the email investigation, the Russia investigation. It's undeniable.
So her secret server and this whole deal with the Clinton Foundation essentially was set up as basically foreign espionage to conceal all this, especially from Congress.
We've got the CIA, functions covert programs. They're probably the most out of control because their charter is so loose. The IRS has covert programs. FBI, Department of Defense, Department of Homeland Security, Department of State, Department of Justice, the NSA.
System. The deep state is a system behind government, and that's how it works. The currency of the deep state is money, power, and greed. So they're two different things. They're joined together, which I'll explain. But they're two different things that function with two different systems of control. That CIA non-disclosure agreement stipulates criminal penalties for anyone that engages in an unauthorized disclosure to a member of the press or to anyone that does not have the necessary clearance for that information. You can go to prison or be threatened with going to prison for disclosing that information.
She has fixers that have been with her for over 20 years. James Comey is one, Loretta Lynch is another, and Robert Mueller is the third.
What existed at that site caused severe toxic exposure, especially to my wife and my oldest son. She was very, very ill.
My son's immune system was destroyed so badly, the family started getting sick. My wife was bleeding from her gums. She was bruising all over her body. She completely lost her short-term memory.
Into the Clinton Foundation, buttered them up, and coerced them into joining the other 8 members to allow them to gain 20% of our uranium supplies. This was an espionage operation on the part of Russia to gain our uranium.
The implications that this has on Benghazi, it is relatively apparent that the CIA is blocking the testimony of the witnesses that were on the ground the day of Benghazi. Why? When you engage in that sort of activity, you are covering something up.
Then she had the director of the CIA, John Brennan, protecting her, James Clapper protecting her, Susan Rice of the National Security Council protecting all these people, protecting an espionage case and essentially a global criminal.
We have a tyrannical government that is now functioning with a huge abuse of secrecy and silencing anybody that will stand against it by classifying everything.
I took them secretly. I flew them out without the agency knowing it to a specialist. And his response to me was, Mr. Shipp, your son's immune system is so destroyed, it looks like he's been exposed to a burst of radiation.
Deception is not just a direct lie, which has occurred in the case of Benghazi, but it is also appearing cooperative while intentionally manipulating the release of information so enough evidence is hidden and the truth is concealed.
You cannot talk about anything that you see, even if it's illegal or unconstitutional, because there's a system to systematically destroy you if you do.
Even the United Kingdom GCHQ was using NSA information also to target Donald Trump and protect Hillary Clinton. So you have to ask yourself, what kind of power or connections does this woman have?
Down here, it says my family was devastated by our government's abuse of blackout. They don't want you to know how they tried to silence me. They blacked it out.
Get all these members of the deep state shadow government to basically risk their own criminal penalties to protect her and try to get her elected. That is the shadow government. That is the deep state. That is what is so chilling about this whole thing is the people that were connected in protecting Hillary Clinton and trying to get her elected.
I would encourage everyone to go out and search all the news reports and all of this, all the information that is out there, and verify every single thing that we say. I hope they do that, because we rely on an informed public, and especially the people that are skeptical, I would encourage them more. If they really are skeptical, then go out and check us out.
When people fear their government, there is tyranny. When the government fears the people, when they fear you, there's liberty. And that's what it's all about. Thank you very much.